Right. Hi, all of you. Good morning. Hi, Vidhi. Good morning. Etria, Nishu Malik. Good morning. Good morning, Kaveri, Mohammad Masood, Prabjot. We have some new faces in the class today. Your first class today? Let's take it. Okay. Hi, Shekhar. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so if we go by the schedule originally, we will start the new module today, which is the history module. But I need about 2 days time to finish off the topics I'm conducting right now. So I'll continue with the topics I've been teaching. And the history module will start from Monday. Hi, Soma Anand. Hello. Okay, fine, Soma. I will connect you with the team and they'll address your doubts. Hello, Anand Tiwari. Good morning. Okay, just an alert here. Some of you were expecting history today, but then we have some delays. In fact, I have not been able to finish some of the topics. Okay, so we'll have a class on the topic that we were discussing, which is internal security. And on Monday, we start with history. But fine, all of you are welcome. Now, one of the questions that have been asked to me last 2 days is, the topic we are doing is internal security. The topic we are doing is internal security. So, those who are starting off, be patient with the process. इसमें भी आप सीख ही जाएंगे कुछ ना कुछ. ठीक है? Okay. So now, one of the questions asked to me is, sir, internal security ke questions, how do we answer the questions? Okay, what is the approach? What type of questions asked? So I'll just brief you a few minutes on that and then we'll move on. Now see, there are 3 aspects to your GS preparation. One is you knowing the facts, you knowing what are the events and developments, okay, you knowing what are the concepts, okay, kya kya ho raha hai, what's happening, on what day, what accord, what treaty, what events have happened, what type of, think of the event that we're having in the form of Bodo Accords or Assam Accords, or we have this Naga Accords. एक बोडो ट्रीटी हुआ है, एक ब्रू ट्रीटी हुआ है. You talk in the context of what we discussed last class. Yesterday discuss किया हम लोगों ने. What I mean by the army commands, which are theater commands, वो कुछ facts हैं. There are facts, there are events, development concepts, and the next are discussions based on opinions. Discussions which are like debate. Okay. Now, this type of discussions require that you apply all of this here. So, if I ask a question to you, so why has the Khalistani movement started again recently? Okay, for a long time in the 80s and 90s, we had troubles. But since then, almost 20-30 years, the thing had quietened down. Not much had happened in Khalistan issues. But last 1 saal mein, 1.5 saal mein, there's a sudden resurgence of Khalistani movement. You are seeing some developments in Canada, developments in the US, San Francisco mein, the consulate got threatened. London mein kuch referendum hua hai. Question, why is it happening? Now, to answer why is it happening, okay, you must know some of the debates here. और फिर आपको apply करना होगा. And by the time आप एग्जाम देते हो, what happens is some of the events change. Okay, so say example, you are giving the mains in 24. आप पढ़ रहे हैं अभी 24 में क्या होगा? Some events will add up, some new concepts will come in, and then it's almost like redoing the whole thing again. Some of you will not clear the prelims next year. आप करेंगे prelims clear करेंगे 25 में. Okay, and 25 तक many more things would have happened. So you must be aware of this thing, that the facts and the events which are taught to you right now, they are important base. But by the time आप examination देंगे, 1 साल बाद या 2 साल बाद, you must add some components. So that's one big challenge for students. कि सर हमने पढ़ तो लिया था, लेकिन क्या ऐड करना पड़ेगा? And all of these conversations, जो आपके GS का conversation है, okay, it's heavy on current affairs. You have to be updated in current affairs. So my suggestion to all of you is, see the preparation in 2 or 3 stages. That's one mistake we all of us do. हमें लगता है, what we think is, कि आपने अगर एक बार क्लास कर लिया, it's done. Okay, and you see the class, foundation classes as the answer to all your problems of answer writing. That's the wrong approach. What you must see is, the preparation happens through phases. Okay, there is a phase 1 of preparation. There is a phase 2 of preparation. There is a phase 3 of preparation, and so on. If you can work really hard and do whatever it takes, from the class to the examination, जितना कम time होगा, okay, उतना better है आपके लिए. But then for all of us, वो possible नहीं होता है. Okay, मोहम्मद मसूद, I have told this to you already. Current affairs के sessions अलग होते हैं. I try covering whatever I can in the current affairs. ठीक है? But अलग से उसको करना होगा. So what I want for all of you is, you must keep your eyes on 2 things. Keep your eyes on all the PYQs. Because PYQs ultimately will become the thread for the preparation. I'll discuss some of that right now. What type of questions are being asked? Yesterday I was talking to one of you. I asked him, tell us every year how many questions are asked in internal security. Okay, कितने questions आते हैं और मुझे बताओ कौन सा question number है. Okay, you must be as specific as that. Spend time in reading the question papers. Okay, you have to analyze the question paper. The question paper should be like the back of your palm. Okay, आपको पढ़ाते हैं अच्छा सर, उस question में fit हो जाएगा. This is something you need to involve yourself in. I'll give an example of that. So look at my screen if you can. Okay. Yeah. So here I have the list of the questions asked. Okay. So you all can see this, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Look at this question. Every year, approximately 3 or 4 questions are asked. And look at the broad themes. Broad themes are 22 में organized crime क्या है? एक और theme है cyber security theme है. एक और theme है naxalism is asked, and maritime security has been asked. Okay, 4 themes. Look at 21 questions. Again, something around cyber attacks. We have questions around state and non-state actors. We have questions around terrorism intensity and complexities. So terrorism, okay, is not exactly organized crime, but terrorism, naxalism, the issues of Northeast, आप इसको एक ग्रुप में डाल सकते हो. Okay, look at 2020 question. Again, cyber crime is asked. Okay, something about border management has been asked. Left-wing extremism. Naxalism पूछा 22 में. Okay, and again they're asking you 2020 में left-wing extremism. And then again, something around the border issues, internal security threats along and the trans-border crimes, LOC and the rest. Look at 2019 question. Okay, something related to again terrorism. Okay, the role of overground workers, Cyberdome project, again about cyber security. Something question on Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA, and this is something like what is organized crime. ये पूछा आपको organized crime यहाँ पर. Okay, so this is asked. Then again, cross-border movement and insurgents. So what happens is, when we are doing the course with all of you, पढ़ा रहे होते हैं, okay, this kind of analysis takes us some time. आप appreciate जब ही कर पाओगे when you have done a good content, okay, first consolidation. And then you must start off the proper process of answer writing. So what I'm addressing is, a lot of people are asking me, sir, answer writing shuru karte hain. I said, yes, first finish off your content first. Okay, that's why I tend to promote the idea, do the foundation first, and then move on towards the next idea called as the answer writing, okay, the enrichment discussions and so on. Okay, so my request to all of you is, irrespective of आप लोग मेरे साथ कोर्स कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं, spend lot of time in PYQ analysis. Let this be part of agenda कि हर दिन, if not possible, maybe once in 2 days or once in 3 days or at least twice a week, sit down and study the questions कि कैसा पूछ रहा है सवाल. Okay, and I think I have hinted this to all of you. This examination demands that you are thinking aspirants. That you are a thinking aspirants. One girl called me up last evening. She had a request. Sir, I want to change my optional. And I have public administration. And my optional, I want to consider are PSIR, anthropology, sociology and geography. Please help me change my optional. And I'm hearing that public administration is not a scoring subject. Okay, what will I take? And I discussed with her for almost half an hour, 40 minutes. The first question I told her was, देखो, आपने PubAd 2-3 महीना किया हुआ है. Tell me first, what is the problem with PubAd? So problem is, sir, I don't understand the concepts. I can't do answer writing. Sir, मुझे question समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Okay, and then I am told that PubAd is not scoring. I said, okay. Then what do you think is scoring? Sir, I have got 4 subjects. Okay, they are scoring. Then my question to her was, if these subjects are scoring, then why, okay, these subjects don't have all the toppers? आप top 10 में देखो, top 20 में देखो, अगर यही scoring है, तो सारे बच्चे यही 2-3 में होने चाहिए थे. But we find students from agriculture, from geology, from philosophy. We find students from mathematics, from physics, from economics. ऐसा क्यों है? Okay. And I was trying to convince her, tell us very honestly, why did you choose PubAd? Then he said, sir, PubAd I took up because I like the subject. PubAd I took up because मुझे बहुत मजा आता है पढ़ने में. I said, then why you want to leave the subject? Sir, because मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. मैंने कहा, hold on. You are saying you like the subject, you enjoying the subject, and then you're telling me समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, what the issue is. So I finally said, sir, lately I have not been doing too many classes. Why? Because I was told that it is not scoring. See how we mess up our preparation. Okay, that you start with subject which you like, you understand, you appreciate. And just because somebody told you scoring नहीं है, आपका उसमें interest कम हो गया. और अब क्लास नहीं आ रहे हो. Because क्लास नहीं आ रहे हो, so you are now missing out on the discussions of concepts, because of which आपको क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आ रहा. So ultimately क्या है? आप you told me PubAd छोड़ना है because समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. But the root reason कुछ और है ना. The root reason is somewhere you have lost faith in the subject. Now this type of a mentality will not help you qualify. Essentially, you are somebody who can't think on your own. You're somebody who is pushed by other people and you're doing what they do. Say, आपने बात करके you have taken anthropology. And then you discover कि anthropology मजा नहीं आ रहा. Somebody told you have taken geography. Then you discover geography बहुत current affairs है, उसे मजा नहीं आ रहा. So what we want is people who are thinking aspirants. And thinking का एक ही तरीका है, be very patient with the concepts first. You cannot write answers on the first day. You cannot write answers when you start of the preparation. I mean, there is a lot of talk about answer writing, but answer writing का भी stage है. Okay, there is first a stage where, like I said, you should know all the facts. After knowing the facts, you must be able to appreciate all the concepts. Okay, once you appreciate concepts, then you will think about, okay, analysis of PYQs. Okay, and then you do answer writing. Aapka appreciation, say if I ask a concept, I'm think of an English word. I ask the concept to all of you. Okay, tell me, what is the concept of shared sovereignty? And is it a concept that is valid for India or not? ये technical word नहीं है. What is the concept of shared sovereignty? ये word जो है syllabus में है नहीं. Okay, this word has been used by some articles, some newspapers. तो आप क्या कर रहे हो? You are doing all the facts, but some of the important concepts you are not keeping track of. So when I ask you, tell me about shared sovereignty. What is it? And then the question, do you think this is a concept that's valid for India or not? You're all lost here. Sir, ये तो क्या ही पूछ दिया पता नहीं, we can't answer and so on. So you cannot, if I ask this as a question, while I've taught you facts, okay, you can't do any answer writing here. There's a stage. Okay, so some of you reached out yesterday to me about the problems of the concept, answer writing, what does it entail? So be patient, all of you here. Okay, spend some time first grounding the concepts. Aap samjho concepts, read about the terms, think about the terms, what the terms mean. The whole idea that Indian security concerns are not merely about, okay, military aspects. Security के social dimensions हैं, security के concerns of economic है, security, the environmental issues. How do you integrate all of that? Like say yesterday I talked about this concept that in the maritime security, agenda of India, why does India talk about two things? India says that we are the net security provider. Okay, and India says that one of the important role perform is the humanitarian assistance, okay, and disaster management. This is a very important agenda of Indian maritime security concerns. Why? हम जब बताते हैं maritime security, what I see is basically naval forces. What I see is naval warfare. What I see is military vessels. Okay, so what do I mean by the idea called as net security? And why am I adding the component of humanitarian assistance and disaster management? Now, this is something you can't by heart. आपको ये समझना होगा. See, you guys ultimately will become what? You'll become bureaucrats. You'll become policymakers. You'll become the basis of lot of concepts of development. You cannot do this mechanically. You cannot do this रट्टा मार मार के पढ़ के खत्म कर. No, रटना पड़ेगा, but you have to go towards the next level of understanding. I shared some time yesterday वो article पढ़ने में, remember? Okay, it's a good article, Oppenheimer का article. How security is not about making bombs alone. There is a moral aspect. There is an aspect related to your governance ethics. There is an aspect related to science, okay, and rationality. Vis-a-vis some of the issues which are political decisions. How security is not simply about an army or military. Okay, India का problem यही है, मैंने बताया पहले, India problem ये है that we are a nation of lot of diversity. In this diversity, okay, imagine this, if this is a nation which has lot of diversity, culture 1, culture 2, culture 3, culture 4 is a big one, culture 6, culture 5, small cultures, tribal groups. Okay, if in this totality, if this culture, which is a big one, a dominant one, when this starts asserting itself, so then you are done. Then what you're doing is, you're encouraging कि आप ये assert करो, आप ये assert करो, आप भी assert करो. Okay. See, if the dominant culture, this is more accepting of diversity, this is more accepting of pluralism, these cultures will keep quiet. The moment आपने यहां पर शुरू किया assertion, then you have problem. There's a strong reason why the Northeast, okay, you talk about Khalistani movement, you talk about some rising Tamil sentiments, okay, why this has increased in the last 6, 7, 8 years time. Okay, so this is not something that you can mechanically list down and study. Okay? So I hope you have got a sense here. So go through stages, please. Okay. Phase 1, आप मेरे साथ रहें. Do the class properly, whatever we're telling you. Understand the concepts, sit down and think on the concepts, and then let us move towards next round. I will invite all of you to consider, if you have not joined it, okay, be a part of the advanced classes also, where we add some content over, okay, the foundation classes, and ultimately you move on towards your answer writing. Okay, so ये जो part है, okay, this is a very different approach in study before you move towards answer writing. Okay, I hope I have, at least soothed some nerves. Don't rush through this. IAS Athreya, imposing language, imposing cultures, imposing religion. Okay, ये एक जो हिंदू राष्ट्र का narrative शुरू हुआ है by some fringe element, that I think is one of the most dangerous narrative for India. Because if this large group, if this starts claiming that they are in danger, then these small will feel all the more scared. Okay, what happened in Nagaland? What happens in Manipur? Okay, when a group that is dominant, that is perceived to be far more empowered, that is perceived to be far more stronger. जब ये बोलेंगे that we want to assert ourselves, then you are in trouble. And that's what is simmering ultimately in the form of the conflicts around the country. Okay? Anyways, we'll come back on that afterwards. Let us start off. Yesterday I finished off the discussions around, okay, why I'm discussing this again? I'm moving towards the other issues of India. अभी हमने border करा दिया आपका पूरा, and after maritime. Now I'm moving towards the problems of insurgency, the problems of militancy inside the country. The problems of insurgency, the problems of militancy inside the country. Okay, and the first topic I'll take up is the Northeast. The Northeast insurgency problems. The Northeast insurgency problems. I think this year and the next year, this will be very important possible question for your mains. Okay? Yes, Purva, yes. Okay, advanced course alag hota hai. It's not a part of this one. That requires analysis of questions, new concepts, answer writing. Okay. At Edukemy, we are starting on 2nd of August. 4 to 6 o'clock aapki classes honge. Okay, yes. But this is foundation. Let's focus on this one first. Okay, fine. Recent Bill of Forest Conservation Act. Yes, correct. It talks about the balance. Fine, Athreya. Correct. Okay. Now, quickly, the first discussion is why is Northeast? Okay, why is Northeast susceptible to insurgency and militancy? Why is Northeast? Susceptible to? Is it vulnerable to militancy and to insurgency? Insurgency. Okay. क्या reason है? Why is it having these problems? Okay. So the reasons are number one is the tremendous amount of tribal diversity. The tremendous amount of tribal diversity, and most of these tribes see their interests as, and these tribes, please keep writing, the class has started, okay? So why is the Northeast susceptible to problems of insurgency? Is because the tremendous amount of tribal diversity, along with that, the tribes see their interest as different from the other tribes. Interests as different from the other tribes. इसमें क्या हो रहा है? The tribes are not able to reconcile towards some kind of a common goal. Okay, the problem is the tribes don't reconcile towards a common coexistence, okay, possibility. There's tremendous tribal diversity. Okay, they see their interests as different from other tribes, and therefore they do not reconcile. They don't adjust towards a common goal of coexistence. A common coexistence possibility nahi ho pata hai. As of now, there are almost 50 different tribal rebellion groups. In India right now we have Northeast mein there are 50 different tribal rebellion groups, and all of them are fairly active. इसमें से 6-7 of them are very, very powerful groups. One is the Naga group. Naga के अंदर ही there are a lot of variants, and there are Naga groups. Okay, you all know about the Kuki tribes. We have the Kuki and the Zumi tribes. The Kuki and the Zumi tribes. You all have heard about, okay, the Bodo tribes. Okay, you must have heard about Karbi tribes, KRBI, Karbi tribes. Okay, we have the Garo tribes. Recently, 4-5 दिन पहले, the Garo tribes had a kind of blockaded, okay, the administration in Meghalaya. They want to have another capital at Garo Hills, at a place called as Tura. ये Meghalaya है. This is Meghalaya here. Meghalaya is 3 hills. The western side is called as the Garo Hills, Khasi Hills, and we have the Jaintia Hills. This is Meghalaya. In Meghalaya, okay, the more power is with Khasi Hills, and Khasi Hills, yes, has this place called as Shillong. Shillong is part of the Khasi Hills. So what the people of Garo region, Garo tribes हैं, they say कि Shillong capital is taking away all our development prospects. We want another capital, like a winter capital, at the place called as Tura, T-U-R-A, Tura. They say, you must have heard about India also had 2 capitals, Delhi and Shimla. Shimla was like a winter capital. वैसे we had 2 capitals, 2 working capitals for even Jammu Kashmir, Srinagar and Jammu. जब winters होता है, they move towards Jammu, otherwise they are in Srinagar. So that's what Meghalaya people are demanding in Garo Hills, that we want another capital at Tura, T-U-R-A. So Garo Hill issues have now come up. Okay. Apart from this, we also have concerns of the Meiteis. Okay. Now Meiteis, these are not a tribe as of now. Like they are not a scheduled tribe. They are not a scheduled tribe. But झगड़ा तो है ही मणिपुर में. तो ये तो 4-5 dominant groups हो गए. The Naga groups, and Naga groups में there are 4-5 of them who are very powerful groups. Naga groups हैं, Kuki and Zumi tribes हैं, Bodo tribes हैं, Karbi tribes हैं. There's a tribe called as Bru, B-R-U, Bru tribes from Mizoram and Tripura. Bru in Mizoram and Tripura. Okay, recently we had the Bru Accords also signed by Government of India and the Mizoram and Tripura. Okay, so in the Northeast we have a tremendous diversity, and then I said that there are more than 50 rebel tribal groups. Okay, and they have their interests which are antagonistic. Achha. Now the third thing, it's a historical hai. The historical thing is that under the British, the Northeast was never properly integrated into the Union of India. During the British, the Northeastern India was not properly integrated into the Union of India. In fact, 1935 का जो act है, I hope you know this. Bulk of our constitution is based on the 1935 Act. It's almost like a very important reference document for whatever laws we have in the constitution. Okay. Masood nahi, abhi Meiteis are not a scheduled tribe. No, they are not. Manipur court ne ye kaha tha कि you can start the process of putting them under the list, but the court has no jurisdiction to say that or even do that. In fact, my suggestion to all of you is I have recorded a video on the Manipur crisis. YouTube mein hai, Edukemy YouTube mein. Go back and have a look. What is the conflict, the roots of the problems of this Meitei Kukis conflict? Okay, dekh lena isko. Then I'll come back here. I said the northeastern India, even during the British time, has never really included the northeast inside the British Dominion. And 1935 Act mein, the northeast India was kept out of the provisions of 1935 Act. The northeast was kept out of the provisions of the 1935 Act. Okay, so ye hamara, so we have a problem. We have a problem related to there's lot of tribal divisions. Uske alawa, it was never a part of a proper political unification. So this is an example of a lack of proper political unification. Lack of proper political unification. Okay. The fourth problem was that Northeast India, okay, has a sense of geographical isolation from rest of India. Ek physical isolation hai. It has a sense of geographical isolation from the rest of India. Okay, because if you know about this a small link called as Siliguri corridor, is naam suna hai aapne? The Siliguri corridor is a very narrow strip of land. Okay, so it's like this. This is say Shillong, Bhutan. Okay, this is Mizoram, Tripura. Okay, this is Meghalaya. Okay, and this is West Bengal, northeast mein. Ye jo strip hai, this strip. Okay, this is called as the Siliguri corridor. This is the Siliguri corridor. This is approximately around just 22 kilometers ka width hai. A very narrow width. So northeast, ye pura northeast hai. Okay, this looks like ye alag part hai. It is not really integrated well with the rest of India. Okay, so there is a sense of geographical isolation of the northeast with the rest of India. Okay, now because geographical isolation hai, is saath mein kya ho raha hai? What's happening along with this is next point. Next point is the northeast. Okay, next point, number 5 hai shayad. The northeast also has a very distinct racial and cultural composition. It has a very distinct racial and cultural composition. ये rest of India से अलग दिखते हैं. Okay, they are Mongoloids. They have more commonality with the Sino-Tibetan cultures. They have more commonality with Sino-Tibetan cultures. ये दिखने में अलग हैं, इनके cultures अलग हैं. These populations, they do not have racial roots in the Indo-Aryan civilizations. They do not have racial roots. They do not have cultural roots in the Indo-Aryan civilization. ठीक है? So geographically अलग हैं. Okay. Plus political unity नहीं हुआ है. Third is culturally अलग हैं also. They look different. They speak different. Okay. And even in terms of religion, in religion also, they are distinct tribal religious groups. They are distinct tribal religious groups. Okay. इनके अपने small tribal religions हैं, groups, along with the later influence of Buddhism, and Christianity. Buddhism and Christianity. So Hinduism is not the dominant religion of the Northeast. Okay, so language alag ho gaya. So look at the elements of cultural differences. Cultural differences. So I said racially they are different. Language they are different. Okay, the different terms of religion. In terms of religion. इसके ऊपर में they also have a sense of different geographical. But one additional point here is that the culture of Manipur and the culture of Arunachal Pradesh, the culture of Manipur and the culture of Arunachal Pradesh does have okay, a sizable influence of Hinduism. It has a sizable influence of Hinduism. Metis largely are Hindus. Okay, of course, they got converted in the 19th century. Metis, M-E-I-T-I, Metis are Hindus. Okay, and Arunachal Pradesh mein, there's lot of influence of okay the DAV movement. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, influence of DAV movement. Iske बावजूद, even despite this, there's a lot of effect of the local cultures. There's a lot of effect of the local traditions. The Metis say that. Metis says, हम Hindus तो हैं, ठीक है, but we also have tribal roots. Okay. In fact, there's a group of people in Manipur called as the Pangals. P-A-N-G-L-S. Meiti Pangals. Meiti Pangals are Muslims. And they say, we also have tribal roots. Okay, so this creates a bit of confusion. Okay, where exactly do you belong? Okay, so there is religion differences, there are cultural issues, and language also different here. This adds to a sense of, so write down, this cultural and the political, okay, difference of Northeast from rest of India, okay, gives it a sense of exclusivity. ये अलग लगता है. It's an exclusive okay, region, unlike the rest of India. अच्छा, इसके ऊपर में, okay, इसके अलावा, there's another reason, very important reason is, there is a sense of neglect and exploitation. There is a sense of neglect and exploitation in the Northeast. Okay, they feel that they have been neglected and they feel that they have been also exploited. Okay, why they feel exploited is because of the forest laws. Okay, because the Northeast has tremendous potential of okay HEP development. Okay, but not much is being done there. Forest laws are denying the tribes their rights. ये in fact बहुत important झगड़ा है in Manipur right now. What the government of Manipur did and central, I won't say Manipur, say central government did was that as a part of the forest conservation, okay, they declared lot of forests as protected forests. Okay, Masood, DAV movement in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so what Manipur में क्या हुआ है? The Manipur hills has good forests. So they declared lot of areas as protected forests, and because of that, lot of Kuki populations have got displaced. So when they got displaced, they said, "अरे environment का ध्यान रख रहे हो, और हमें निकाल रहे हो घर से." And of course, there's a religious angle to it also, and so on. So the forest laws are sometimes seem to be encroaching on the local rights, the local livelihood. Okay, HEP potential hai, but not much has been developed in parts of the Northeast. Why? Because they think that India is more concerned about the border security, okay, and not so much concerned about the development concerns. Okay, neglect. Why? Because these areas still lack credible infrastructure. इनके पास अभी भी roads नहीं है. They lack credible infrastructure. Neglect. Why? Because okay, the economy has not diversified has not diversified enough to include manufacturing sector. Agriculture also has not been properly invested in. कोई भी डेवलपमेंट में ना एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फंडामेंटल कंपोनेंट है दैट यू मस्ट हैव कनेक्टिविटी. बेसिक रोड्स होने चाहिए, बेसिक रेलवेज होने चाहिए. ओके, बट नॉर्थ ईस्ट हैज नॉट सीन ऑल ऑफ दैट. इज लाइक हम दिखने में अलग है, हमारा लैंग्वेज अलग है, हमारा रिलीजन अलग है, एंड वी आर अवे फ्रॉम रेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया. A very small narrow corridor called a Siliguri corridor, and we're here. Plus, the government doesn't care about us. We have got no development, no roads, no livelihood. Okay, this area has lot of out migrations because of high unemployment rates. Right down. The northeast has very high levels of out migration. Northeast has very high levels of out migration because of out migration. Because of lack of employment prospects, and as interstate migrants, they face racial discrimination in the rest of the country. ठीक है. So be it Delhi, be it Bangalore, be it Mumbai. Bangalore में I think 2019 and 20 में it was like an unofficial thing. Okay, all the northeast population they are asked to leave Bangalore overnight. Okay, why? Because they felt that these are outsiders and they are taking away our jobs. जिनके अपने घर में jobs नहीं है, when they come out they face discrimination. Okay, they lack education amenities also. This is an example of a sense of economic neglect and a sense of economic exploitation. Okay. Now, these problems, what has happened is, okay, write down the internal problems and issues of conflicts, internal problems and issues of conflicts has been exploited by China and Pakistan. Internal problems hai, conflicts hai, they have been exploited by China and Pakistan. In fact, China has trained the rebels, Naga rebels का training जो हुआ है वो China में हुआ है. We have this group called as your Naga Council. Naga Council. Okay, they have been trained by China. And even later on by Pakistan also. There is therefore we say a geopolitical angle also. There is a geopolitical angle, and because of the relatively porous borders, the insurgent groups have a safe havens. They can take a refuge. They have a safe havens in Myanmar, in Bhutan, and in China. इनके camps हैं म्यांमार में, इनके camps हैं भूटान में, and they have camps in Myanmar also. Myanmar, Bhutan, and China. And just to add this point here that the northeast, खासकर Nagaland and Mizoram, okay, and Arunachal Pradesh also, there's lot of cross-border movement across Myanmar. A lot of cross-border movement across Myanmar, and illegal trade and cultivation of opium and poppy. Illegal trade and cultivation of opium and poppy. Okay, the northeast is very near what's called as the golden triangle of drugs. ये northeast is northeast here, okay, and this part we have got Myanmar, we have got Thailand, we have got Laos, we have got Myanmar, we have got Thailand, and we have got Laos. This is called as the golden triangle of drug trade in the world. Drug trade and drug cultivation, drugs. Okay, so lot of drugs comes from here into parts of Northeast, and from here, okay, it gets shipped and exported. So all these problems, okay, are further complicated by, okay, India's, right now, next point, number 9, the above problems are further complicated by India's counter-insurgency operations. They are further complicated by India's counter-insurgency operations. We have Armed Forces Special Powers Act, okay, 1958. In fact, ये act हुआ था, okay, to deal with the Naga insurgency. Naga, I think 1953 में there was a major Naga revolt. Okay, major Naga revolt, and to counter that, we had this act. In this act, the armed forces were given special powers to arrest, to search, okay, and it ultimately was misused. Okay, so इसका भी गुस्सा है. Okay, Armed Forces Special Power Act, and all of you have heard about now how Assam Rifles has a poor record of human rights. That further alienates, और गुस्सा बढ़ जाता है. I think you know about this lady called Irom Sharmila, right? It was called as Aryan Lady of India. She went on a fast, like what, 10-15 years probably. She only had liquid diet. Her nose would have a pipe, okay, and she would only take liquid diet as a protest against, okay, AFSPA. Okay, so Irom Sharmila, and do look her up. And she also has Irom Sharmila. Okay, so she also has been telling the governments कि no, Manipur, please solve it. It's became too much to bear now. So Assam Rifles have the responsibility of protecting the northeastern borders of India with Myanmar. Okay, against Myanmar, okay, they have the responsibility of protecting the borders, and they are into a lot of atrocities and so on. So now look at the the issue that we have. There is an element of geographical isolation. Okay, there is an element of cultural distinctiveness. Plus, there's a lot of tribal diversity, and lot of tribal antagonism. Okay, इसके ऊपर में they are not politically properly integrated. इसके अलावा there is a geopolitical angle, and plus, okay, now we also have the counter insurgency operations. अगर आप ये add कर देते हो, now you understand why this is such a tricky issue to manage. Okay, so you have got geographical isolation. Okay, you can draw this in your notes. ये सब चीज रटा नहीं जाता है. We appreciate कितने मल्टी pronged problems यहां पर हैं. There's geographical isolation, ये अलग लगता है. There's a cultural distinctiveness, okay, racially, language इनका अलग है, religion अलग है. Plus इनके आपस में भी, within them also, there's a lot of tribal antagonism. There's a lot of tribal enmity. Plus, there is no proper political integration. अभी भी we have lot of autonomous councils, okay, and with their own. इसके अंदर में, if you know about our constitution, under part 11, okay, schedule 6 and article 244. It says that, okay, the northeastern region should have autonomous councils. They must have autonomous administration. They have an element of distinct, legislative and judicial process also. So this, our constitution, in its part 11 and its schedule list called as 6, schedule list called 6, right? Article 24 में, this provides for autonomous regions. regions within the states, autonomous regions within the states, okay, with legislative, with administrative and judicial powers, with legislative, with administrative and with judicial powers. Okay. Laws of India, जो आप Indian Parliament बनाएगा, they are not automatically applicable to all parts of Northeast. Right on this point, that the union laws and the laws of Indian Parliament, the union laws and laws of Indian Parliament are not automatically applicable to all parts of the Northeast. All parts of the Northeast. Okay, put a star mark. This is the concept of shared sovereignty in the Northeast. This is the concept of shared sovereignty of the Northeast. Underline this point. What do you mean by sovereign? Sovereign means that I am completely free, independent to do whatever I want to do and nobody can interfere in my approach. India is sovereign. In India, the parliament is sovereign. The people are sovereign. We can elect, we can make our laws, we can do amendments. Okay, we have our choices. So India is a sovereign nation. Inside India, these bodies are there, which are also kind of sovereign. Okay, इनके अपने laws हैं. Okay, इन पे national law automatically apply होता नहीं है. Okay, these guys have their own judicial system also. Okay, not all the judgments of Indian courts are applicable directly here. This is what's called a shared sovereignty. Okay, shared sovereignty के साथ में they have a sense of cultural exclusiveness also. Write down. The Northeast tribal identity, the Northeastern tribal identities and their administration have a very distinct functioning. They have a sense of relative autonomy. And local institutions which are independent of the national institutions of India. Independent of the national institutions of India. This idea is based on the distinct history of Northeast. Along with the unique cultures that have not been mainstreamed with the rest of India. अब आप क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे अगर, अब ये बताओ, ये shared sovereignty जो है, is it allowed in our constitution or not? Yes or no? Yes, it is allowed. The moment I have schedule 6 अलग से, the moment I have part 11 अलग से, when article 244 says that yes, you can set up this kind of autonomous bodies, which means the constitution says it's okay. We can have a sense of shared sovereignty. एक national identity है, plus you can also have local identities. So when I say shared sovereignty, when we say that there is a shared sovereignty, what does it mean? That there is a national identity, that they're all Indians. अगर war होगा, we have the common army. That they come under lot of common policies of finance and budget and development in investments. So we have a national identity there. Plus, there's also a predominant local identity with local judiciary, with local administration, with local legislative powers. Okay. Shared sovereignty is, there is the national identity. Okay. There's some commonality in terms of who we nations are. Okay. Plus a sense of local identity. And this concept is a valid concept in Indian Constitution. This concept is a valid concept in Indian Constitution. Yes. No, ये अलग चीज है. When you say parallel government, you're talking about the insurgents running it. हम उसकी बात नहीं कर रहे. Insurgents, the Naga groups, they're running what they call as taxes are actually extortions. हम उसकी बात नहीं कर रहे. हम बोल रहे हैं that which is administratively sanctioned, that has constitutional sanction, that yes you can have a council, उसका अपना procedure, आप उसको follow करो. आप ये सब छोड़ के जब आप एक अलग चलाते हो कि हम तो कुछ भी नहीं मानेंगे, and I have own radical group, हम अपना उठाएंगे पैसे, हम अपना काम करेंगे, and I'll do with the gun. That's called as parallel government. Now this is illegal. So shared sovereignty is giving the rights local people कि आप करो administration, आप करो अपना laws बनाओ, आप अपने taxes भी raise करना है करो. You can have your own systems of judiciary, but you can't have a system which is ignoring both. And most of these, they talk about secession. कि country से अलग कर दो हमें. So our constitution allows for shared sovereignty, but does not allow for secessioning. Okay, it not allowed to secede. कि आप अलग country बना लो. That can't be possible. Yes. No, it is also applicable for Kashmir. But 370 article होने के बाद dilute, the things have now become different. Okay, so this shared sovereignty is a concept applicable for India. Okay, we have had Article 370 for Kashmir. Now it has been, okay, repeal तो नहीं बोलेंगे, but it's defunct now. Okay, and the Northeast वाला अभी भी continue कर रहा है. So much so that Northeast में they have a concept called as, okay, inner permit line. Inner permit. Okay, inner permit. It's inner line permit, sorry. It is inner line permit. Concept of inner a line permit. ये हम दोबारा बताएंगे आपको. So it's like, this is like a border inside the border. This is India's national border. Okay. And this is the state border. इसके अंदर में I can have another border also. See, if I go by constitution, it tells us Indian citizens can travel to any part of India, reside there, and take up any job of their choice. ठीक है? Which means you can't prevent anybody from going anywhere, but this law has been qualified for some regions. तो हर रीजन में आप जाकर आप लैंड ओन नहीं कर सकते. Like in tribal areas, you can't buy the land. Okay, in hill areas also you can't buy the land. Again, we have the son of soil concept where not all states allow you to take up any job you can take up their local government. में नहीं कर सकते आप. तो ऐसे ही, because of concerns of culture, tribal issues, concerns related to the sense of uniqueness, we have an idea called as, okay, inner line. The inner line is like a boundary that doesn't allow for easy movement within this. Okay, so you can't move inside, you can't take up a job inside, you cannot do trading inside. And this idea was started by the British, okay, for the parts of Bengal presidency, because they wanted that trading should not be allowed for all Indians. Only some people and the British companies can enter and trade, not everybody else. So they developed what's called as inner permit, inner line. But in recent times, we have been giving permits also. If you get a permit, आप अंदर जा सकते हैं एज टूरिस्ट में भी, बट नॉट टेक अप अ जॉब एंड नॉट लिव देयर. So this inner line permit is applicable for Lakshadweep, applicable for parts of Himachal Pradesh. If you know about this Spiti Valley, वहाँ applicable है. It is applicable for Nagaland, applicable for Mizoram, applicable for Arunachal Pradesh, and even for Manipur. Okay. चलो ठीक है, आप जब लिख रहे हैं तो थोड़ा बाद बताएंगे. ठीक है, लिख लो अभी आप. Give a heading inner line permits. इनर लाइन परमिट कंसेप्ट लिख लीजिए आप. Okay. Write down. The concept of inner line permit is a kind of restricted access. A kind of restricted access to some regions and districts. A kind of restricted access to some regions and districts in different parts of India. Okay. It's like a border within the borders of the country. It's like a border within the borders of the country. Okay, that prevents free flow of goods. That prevents free flow of goods and people, like as in the rest of the country. Okay. Next point लिखें आप. Let us write down. This concept was started by the British. Under Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation. Of 1873. To protect the commercial interests of the British. Next point. Post-independence. To protect the cultural identities of some regions. Comma, to safeguard indigenous cultures of some tribes, and to check illegal migrations and encroachments, that can impact local demographics. Inner line permit concept, ILP बोलते हैं, concept is used in the following states of India. Which are Andaman Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep. Do 1, 2, 3, 4. Andaman Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh for the valley of Spiti. In the valley of Spiti. Then in Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram. In Mizoram. Okay. And in Manipur. मणिपुर में इंड्यूस किया गया 2020 में, रिसेंटली 2 साल पहले, in 2020. Right, next, under inner line permit, under inner line permit policy, the states are allowed to issue permits. The states allowed to issue permits for Indian citizens. For Indian citizens. Okay. Under tourism. Under tourism. And not for any other economic activity. And not for any other economic activity. Okay. Next slide down. अच्छा, एक important point ये है, the inner line permit is applicable to who? It's applicable to Indians or foreigners also. For foreigners, they don't need the permit, but they have to get registered. Okay, right now, put a star mark here. And that ILP is applicable for Indian citizens. Whereas the foreigners do not need ILP, but need to get registered. With the police, or with the SP office. एक और fact, Arunachal Pradesh has a more restrictive policy. Arunachal Pradesh has a more restrictive policy, which has the concept of protected area permits, PAP, area permits, and restricted area permits, RAP, PAP and RAP, issued by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. ये फैक्ट्स जो है ना, ये फंसाएंगे आपको प्रीलिम्स में. बाकी केस में कौन इशू करता है? ILP कौन करता है? ILP कौन करता है? स्टेट करता है. नागालैंड स्टेट देगा, मिजोरम स्टेट देगा. फॉर अरुणाचल प्रदेश इट इज गिवन बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. Okay, because of the border concerns are more tricky there. इसके अलावा just one more fact that in Nagaland, the Dimapur district is exempt from IPL regime. The ILP निकलता है because of cricket. Okay. In Nagaland, the Dimapur district, Dimapur is the largest I can say district, city. It is the commercial hub of Nagaland, not Kohima. Kohima the capital hai, but Nagaland में Dimapur is more important. So encourage trade, commerce. Okay. So Dimapur में the inner line permit concept is not applicable. It is now exempt. ये 2-3 facts हैं about the inner line permits. So the question is, is it a concept which is valid? Yes, it is. And this is an example of the concept of shared sovereignty. The shared sovereignty is a very important idea. It's part of, you can say, administrative and legislative pragmatism in India. कि हर बार आप बोलोगे सबको इक्वल कर देंगे, all laws applicable everywhere, all are same people, no restrictions for any Indians. It becomes tricky. So the shared sovereignty concept, the concept of inner line permits are examples of legislative and administrative pragmatism given the cultural diversity in different parts of India. The concept of shared sovereignty, the concept of inner line permits, they are valid they are legislative, okay, they are administrative, pragmatism. Pragmatism given the cultural diversity, of India. देखो ये दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट है, यूनिफॉर्मिटी एंड होमोजेनिटी, और एक कंसेप्ट है यूनिटी, ठीक है? एंड these are not necessarily, okay, guaranteeing one another. Okay, हमारा एक assumption है कि that if we are uniform, हम सब एक हो जाएं, हम सब मिलकर रहेंगे. Okay, this will not happen. What we must strive for is हम मिलकर रहें, हमारा देश ऐसे बना रहे, हमारा देश तरक्की करे, बट कोई जरूरी नहीं है for unity I must have uniformity. Okay, because uniformity में there will emerge concerns of insecurity. There will be concerns related to a sense of a losing identity. Okay, in uniformity we'll have a sense of local, okay, a sense of cultural alienation. Okay, in uniformity, homogeneity, we'll end up having, okay, majoritarianism. These are dangerous ideas. You must see this in light of all developments around us today. Okay, and I said no, one example of this is that we are trying to impose a lot of things in local areas which can disrupt. The idea of, और ये applicable forest laws में भी है, ये applicable religion में भी है, ये applicable language में भी है. That every Indian must have Hindi as national language. That's a dangerous one. That we become a Hindu Rashtra. That's a dangerous one. That we must have the same constitution everywhere. Okay. The constitution allow करता है कि अगर जरूरत पड़े, you can have some modifications. You can have some deviations from what is otherwise mainstream politics. Allow करता है. So shared sovereignty is very much part of ensuring unity. Okay. While we do not scare people under the theme of, okay, uniformity and homogeneity. Is it okay, all of you here? So I have kind of given a base for lot of discussions on security across. ये सिर्फ नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लिए नहीं है, ये पूरा कंट्री के लिए होगा. नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लिए we have got special provisions. You can apply this for good parts of other aspects also. You can apply this for language, in culture, I said, even education policy. I mean, there's a lot of resistance, right? कि सारे कंट्री में एक सिलेबस बना दीजिए, all of them follow one language system. Okay, and Tamil Nadu has been resisting that NEET wala protest जो हुआ है, and the medical admissions and so on. That's a question to be seen. कि do we really need uniformity or do we value some element of diversity also? Take all of you here. So I've given you the root reasons of why we have issues in Northeast. Now we'll take up one by one. Achha, it's a very smart term. I like that idea. Just a minute. Let me give that to you first. Yesterday, वही हम कर रहे थे demonstrate that when you're reading, it's very important to identify, okay, what are some of those smart phrases, okay, around which your entire answers can be written. Just a minute. Let me see वो कहाँ गया. Just a minute. No, I can't find it. Yes. Yes. Put a star mark. और इसको कैसे use करेंगे? We'll come back out. Discuss afterwards. It says that the disturbance and the disturbance and the insurgency problems of Northeast. The disturbance and the insurgency problems of Northeast are rooted in the politics of a subnationalism, are rooted in the politics of subnationalism, comma, complexities of regional geopolitics, and okay, the tricky compromises and the dynamics of counter-insurgency tactics. The tricky and the challenging dynamics of counter-insurgency tactics that together have defied lasting peace solution for the Northeast. ये 3 वर्ड समझ में आ रहा है आपको? अब इसे पूछ देगा कि राइट एन आंसर ऑन दिस. देखिए दिस एज अ स्टेटमेंट एंड से डिस्कस. देखिए जो प्रॉब्लम्स नॉर्थ ईस्ट में है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट प्रॉब्लम्स आर रूटेड इन द पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ सब नेशनलिज्म. Okay, that we as Nagas are different, we as Kukis are different, we as Kashmiris we are different, we as Tamils are different. That's subnationalism. और ये कहां से आता है? ये आता है because we are looking different. हमारे cultures अलग हैं, हमारे language अलग हैं, and I have a sense of isolation, I have a sense of exploitation. So our subnationalism kind of grows. Okay, plus the complexities of the regional geopolitics. बांग्लादेश का कुछ इश्यूज हैं, इश्यूज ऑफ म्यांमार है, चाइना है, अफगानिस्तान है, सेंट्रल एशियन प्रॉब्लम है. ओके, प्लस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द ट्रिकी एंड द चैलेंजिंग इश्यूज रिलेटेड टू द काउंटर इंसर्जेंसी टैक्टिक्स. हमारा जो बीएसएफ का क्या रोल है, आर्म्ड फोर्सेस स्पेशल पावर्स एक्ट का क्या रोल है, असम राइफल्स का क्या रोल है. ओके, तो आपको वॉट एवर अभी तक बताया ये 3 में फिट हो जाएगा आपका. डिस्कस द नॉर्थ ईस्ट प्रॉब्लम्स इन एज अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस ऑफ सब नेशनलिज्म, एज अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज ऑफ रीजनल जियोपॉलिटिक्स एंड the consequence of counter insurgency tactics. और ये हर जगह लागू होता है. I talk about national problem, वहां भी ये लागू होता है, right? Nationalism में वही है ना, local tribal cultures, the local identities, the sense of an isolation, the sense of exploitation. Okay, the Santhal rebellion, ये तो था और क्या था? Okay, Rampa rebellion, the Santhal rebellion, and the geopolitics. Nationalism had support of China also. Okay, there's some geopolitics going on. Plus, what we are doing in terms of the counter-insurgency tactics, the role of CRPF, the role of the forces, the police, the atrocities, whatever are the issues there. They're very powerful. And I just read in एक article पढ़ रहे थे हम. Okay, this was mentioned here, and I found this to be very profound. One sentence capturing Okay, the entire essence of India's social turmoils in different parts of India. Yes, it has defied lasting peace. Okay, defined नहीं होगा, defied. Lasting peace हमने ensure नहीं किया है because of this problem. Okay, so see as, yeah, thank you so much Kushi. Kushi Ram, thank you. So जब आप articles पढ़े ना, okay, when you mine for an article, don't just pick up information. You pick up phrases also. और यही बनेगा क्वेश्चन आपका. ठीक है? Okay, let's start off with the Naga. Okay, the Naga crisis. The Naga crisis, the Naga issues. The Naga crisis and the Naga issues. Okay. So write down as points. Okay. The first point is that Nagas are a distinct culture. The Nagas are a distinct culture. Okay. And with a very distinct history, compared to the rest of India. Next point, the Naga Hills became part of India in 1881. Naga Hills became part of British India. They became part of British India in 1881. Next one, 1918 was the formation of a group called the Naga Club. 18 was the formation of a group called as the Naga Club. Naga Club, okay, was like a political body, for ensuring unity among the Naga tribes. Okay. And during, next point, during the Simon Commission agitation, okay, the Naga Club advocated complete autonomy to Naga regions. I hope all of you know this. The Simon Commission किस लिए था? To make India's constitution. Okay, and it would be made by the British, and that's why we revolted. Why should the British make our constitution? हम अपना बनाएंगे. Okay, so Lala Lajpat Rai and Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal, Lal Bal Pal, they got together, whatever, you know about the story there. उसमें नागा से कि आपको जो बनाना है बनाओ, we don't care. Don't add us in the process at all. हमारा अपना बनेगा constitution, we will make it. We do not see ourselves as part of the rest of the dominion of India. Okay, so इसका इतना पुराना roots है. Next slide down. 1946 was the formation of Naga National Council, NNC. सारे conflicts का roots यहीं शुरू होता है. And 46 was the formation of Naga National Council under FIZO. Okay, Zapu FIZO, ZAPU, Zapu PHIZO, Zapu FIZO, ZAPU PHI, okay, ZO, Zapu FIZO, who in 1947, okay, declared his intentions. Okay, for Nagaland as a sovereign Naga territory. Intentions of Nagaland as a sovereign Naga territory. ठीक है, so 46 में ये बना 46 में and 47 में कह दिए कि हम अपना करना चाहते हैं country. Next slide down. In 47 under Haidari Agreement, HYDARI, Haidari Agreement, Okay, Haidari was the governor of Nagaland. Under Haidari, Sir Akbar Haidari agreement, okay, the moderates of Naga National Council, NNC, the moderates of NNC signed a 9-point agreement. To be part of the Indian sovereign state. To be part of Indian sovereign state. But it was rejected by Fizo. Fizo was the main founder. ठीक है, फिजो कहते हम नहीं करेंगे इसको. In 1953, Fizo formed formed Naga federal government. He formed NFG, Naga federal government, and NFA, Naga federal army. Naga federal government and Naga federal army. Almost like I'm declaring independence. Okay. To counter this, the government enacted the 1958 Armed Forces Special Power Act. Government enacted Armed Forces Special Powers Act. It was to suppress and counter what was becoming a secessionist movement. To counter and suppress what was becoming the secessionist movement. ये almost 20 साल इशू रहा. 53 से in 1973, next point, 1973, along Shillong Accords. 1975, in 75, under Shillong Accords, NNC and NFG. NNC was Naga National Council and Naga Federal Government. NNC and NFG agreed to give up arms. But another Naga leader, Muviah, Muviah, Isaac Muviah, another Naga leader, Isaac Muviah, inspired by China or encouraged by China, refused to accept the accord. And led to the formation of NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland. National Socialist Council of Nagaland, NSCM. Okay. And NSCM का बहुत strong support चाइना में है, चाइना का है. Okay, put a star mark. NSCN has strong support of China, along with training and arming the militants. Okay, NSCN was formed in 1980. Next down. Since then, NSCN has undergone multiple splits. Abhi, there are 7 splinter groups. It has undergone multiple splits. There are at least 7 splinter groups. But the two most powerful groups are NSCM IM faction, NSCN IM is Isaac Movia faction, and NSCN, okay, Khaflang, Khaplan, Khaflang faction, K faction. Khaflang has support of Myanmar, of Burma. इनका hideouts बर्मा में है. NSCN Khaflang faction and NSCN Isaac Movia faction. और इन दोनों में Isaac Movia faction is okay the more rebellious. Okay, इनका तो एक ही एजेंडा है, that we want a separate greater Nagaland, that they call as the greater Naga limb. इनका एक डिमांड ये है, they want a separate Naga constitution, okay, and they also want a separate Nagaland flag. ना बचा क्या एक और कंट्री बनाने के लिए? आर्मी आपको चाइना दे देगा, बाकी तीन आपने बना लिया है. Okay, that's why they are the more extremists. Okay, and all the peace accords यही टूटता है because of IM faction. They want to separate greater Nagaland that they call as Naga limb. जो Naga limb है, greater Nagaland है, it includes parts of Assam, it will include parts of Arunachal Pradesh, include parts of Mizoram, Tripura, and also Myanmar. This becomes an independent, okay, Nagaland as a country. Parts of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, parts of Mizoram, parts of Manipur, okay, and also, okay, Myanmar. And Myanmar. Okay. Plus they said they want a separate Naga constitution that they call as Naga Yes Habo. The constitution को बोलते हैं ये लोग the Naga Yes Habo, YEZHABO. Yes Habo, and they also want a separate Naga territory. They want a separate Naga territory. Right next, right down. In 2015, okay, Naga peace accord was signed. Naga peace accord was signed between the government of India, comma, some of the factions of NSCN, okay, to end insurgency. Okay, in 2017, there was a settlement with group of Naga rebels called NNPG, Naga National Political Groups. NNPG, National Naga Political Groups. Okay, with a deadline to conclude the peace agreement by 2019. And work for a prosperous Northeast. But NSCN IM faction has resisted all of this. NSCN का IM faction has resisted all these. ठीक है. So the Naga peace accords है 2015 वाला बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट माइलस्टोन है. Naga peace accords 2015, put it inside a box, put a star mark. It's a very important milestone. Okay, right down here. Under the peace accord, okay, Okay. There is a shared vision for, इसको underline करना, there is a shared vision for insurgency free and prosperous Northeast. Shared vision for insurgency free and prosperous Northeast, and to end all disputes in Northeast by 2022. To end all disputes in Northeast by 2022. Apparently, 23 was supposed to be the beginning of a new vibrant Northeast. That's how we had projected the whole idea of the peace accords. Okay, that the 2023 was supposed to be the beginnings of a new vibrant Northeast. So Naga peace accord सबसे important pillar था. Sign किया था, but IM faction rejected it. Inside a box, write down, एक box में बना लो, some of the other peace accords and agreements of the Northeast. So अलग से रखना है इसको, box में डाल देना. Some of the other peace accords and agreements of the Northeast. One was the Karbi-Anglong Agreement, 2021. The Karbi-Anglong Agreement of 2021. Karbi-Anglong are tribes in parts of Assam. Karbi groups, parts of Assam. So एक type का agreement हुआ था between government of India with Assam, and these insurgent groups. It was a type of a tripartite agreement. Agreement between the Karbi tribal groups plus the government of Assam plus the government of India. That we will have to take care of the rights. And under this, we are supposed to have autonomous councils here. This was one important accord, Karbi-Anglong Agreement 21. The second very important agreement was the Bodo Agreement. The second one was the Bodo Agreement, Bodo Peace Accord 2020. The Bodo Peace Accord 2020. Again, Bodos are a tribal group or ethnic group of again Assam. Bodos are ethnic group of Assam, and this agreement was for more autonomy to BTR. BTR is Bodo Territorial Region. More autonomy for BTR, Bodo Territorial Region in Assam. And the third one is the Bru Accord. The Karbi-Anglong Accord hai. The third one was the Bru Accord. A Bru jo hai, Bru is another tribal group, but Brus are of Mizoram. Bru of Mizoram. So, because of persecution issues, the Brus have migrated into Tripura. And they are residing there. This was an agreement between Mizoram, Tripura and Government of India. Between Mizoram, Tripura and Government of India. For a settlement of Bru families, in Tripura with a financial package. Because migrants are pushed out of because of the conflicts. So we want to settle them up. These are three very important agreements. The recent times में हुआ है. So ये चार याद रखना. We have the Naga Peace Accord 2015 वाला. We have 2021 में. We have this Karbi-Anglong group वाला. Then 2020 में we had two of them. The Bodo वाला था और एक है Bru वाला. ठीक है. plus एक fourth लिखो, apart from these four, or maybe fifth one. 15 was Naga peace accords. The next is the Mizo peace accords. The Mizo peace accords. This was in 1986. And 86. Okay. Between the Mizo National Front, and Government of India. And this led to the formation of Mizoram as a state. This led to the formation of Mizoram as a state. As a state. Okay? So we said कि 2015 के बाद में we said our target is that by 2022 हम सारा खत्म कर देंगे. No problem, because Bodo resolved, Karbi Anglong resolved, Bru has been resolved, Mizo has been resolved. एक नागा बचता था हमारा. Okay, so he said Nagaland, so let's push it, and by 22 we'll finish all of this, and 23 onwards it is now the vision for a prosperous Northeast. But 23 has seen some of the worst violence of recent times. Okay, so ये पांच को आप डाल देना as a box. What have been the treaties, agreements to resolve the conflicts of the Northeast? Okay, write down next. Some of the key concerns. That remain unresolved in Northeast. Some of the key concerns that remain unresolved in the Northeast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. The first point is the problem of illegal migrants from Bangladesh and Myanmar. That is compromising the demographic profile. Of the local tribal groups. इसमें 3 states are more impacted. One is Assam, second is Tripura, the third is Manipur. First is Assam, second is Tripura. Tripura is now majorly a Bengali speaking population state हो गया. Okay, Tripura has lot of illegal migrations. ठीक है? This is unresolved yet. Now this is something like India Bangladesh का issue है. Okay, it can only be resolved at an international level. Okay, impacted are Assam, Tripura and Manipur. ठीक है? So within bracket mention this, that the Meitei Manipuris and the Naga population, dispute the origin of cookies. As cookies are seen as illegal migrants from Myanmar. Who were given refuge by the Manipur king. And therefore, the demand of Kuki homeland is seen as illegitimate demand by Meitei Manipuris and by Nagas. Is seen as an illegitimate demand by Meitei Manipuris and by Nagas. झगड़ा शुरू हुआ है, उसका एक रीजन ये था. See what apparently 1919 में, okay, you please all of you go back and see that video I have posted on the YouTube of Edukemy. उसमें मैंने डिस्कस किया है वहां पर क्या इशू है. So what the cookies have been telling us, the cookies were part of an armed rebellion against the British in 1919. Okay, they say that we fought the British and the fight was for our homeland. Okay, and the others say कि नहीं, वो fight against British नहीं था. It was more an issue of the rivalries between the tribes था. So keeping 1919 का event, okay, just as we are very reverent towards the 1857 revolt, and we call the people who did that as patriotic. The Manipuris say the 1919 revolt was a patriotic movement of Manipur के लिए, and cookies are part of Indian Manipuri land. तो क्या करते हैं 1919 के celebrations में, they declare Manipur as their homeland. वो जा जाकर एक पत्थर लगा देते हैं that Manipur is our homeland. They have this monuments, वो गेट बना देते हैं that Manipur is our homeland. Then the local Manipuris say ये सब आप लोग कर रहे हैं to occupy our land. So that's where one reason, that's why in the conflict the Manipuri Meiteis broke down and they broke and they burnt one of those monuments. They call that as the cookie freedom movement monuments. This type of the cookies trying to give legitimacy to themselves as they belong to that land. But Nagas और Manipuri Meiteis कहते हैं कि ये तो बाहर से आए हैं. Okay, ये land थोड़ी उनका है. This is one of the concern. Okay, the concern of illegal migrants and therefore the status of cookies क्या है. That's one concern not resolved yet. The second concern not resolved is the issue of Greater Nagaland. The issue of Greater Nagaland. So historically, Nagas have been in conflict. Historically, Nagas have been in conflict against Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, against Assam, against Arunachal Pradesh, against Manipur, okay, and Mizoram. Manipur and Mizoram, because of their demand of an independent sovereign Nagalim, the Greater Nagaland, because of the demand for independent sovereign Nagalim, which is the Greater Nagaland. Okay, और NSC faction तो बोलता है कि हमें अलग फ्लैग भी चाहिए, हमें अलग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी चाहिए. It's almost like a secessionist tendency. This also is unresolved. Okay. Third thing unresolved is the hard line stance of. Third is the hard line stance of NSCM-IM faction. NSCM-IM faction with support of China and Pakistan. With support of China and Pakistan. The next unresolved issue is land rights and forest rights. Land rights and forest rights. Okay. So the Forest Conservation Act 1980. The Forest Conservation Act 1980 and the Forest Act of 1927. Forest Act of 1927. तो ब्रिटिश ने क्या किया था? Okay, by the way, I hope you all can recall your discussion on environment also. Okay, 27 Act में the British said the forests are ours and we will use the forest for economic activities. So 27 Act, okay, the Forest Rights Act 1927. What this stated was all the forests are the British resources and all the forest resources can only be used by the British. They kind of disenfranchised the local tribes. उनको निकाल दिया गया 1997 में. और फिर क्या हुआ, हमने बनाया फॉरेस्ट कंजर्वेशन एक्ट. ओके, सो इनका ऑब्जेक्टिव था द इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स okay will be for the British, the local will have no role to play. And FCA 1980 में we said for forest conservation, okay, I have to remove people from the forest. Okay, so this was an economic wala agenda, इसमें था agenda of protecting the forests. But in both cases, ultimately what happened was the local populations are getting displaced. The local populations are getting displaced. Okay, under FCA, the displacement is in the name of forest conservation, and under FRA, the displacement because of forest resource use. Now, either ways, the tribes are getting impacted. This example है, मैंने बताया आपको that in Manipur, okay, many of the hill regions have been declared as protected forests under FCA 50. और इन लोगों को हटा दिया जा रहा है, घर जला दिए जा रहे हैं. The churches, so the tribal thing is now becoming a kind of a communal thing now, unfortunately. The churches are now being burnt and so on. Okay, so they are getting disenfranchised. This is not resolved. But the fact is, we put a star mark right down here, under the local autonomous council rights, under the local autonomous council rights, many of these forest rules and acts, many of these forest rules and acts were not supposed to be directly applicable to the tribal parts of Northeast. They were not supposed to be directly applicable to the tribal parts, the forest regions of the Northeast. ठीक है, बट कर रहे हैं एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज समरिंग नाउ. ठीक है, so that's one is unresolved issue. The second unresolved issue is the existence of parallel governments run by rebel factions. Parallel governments run by the rebel factions. Okay, they are armed gangs. There are armed gangs engaging in extortions, siphoning of funds, cross-border smuggling, and illegal drug trade. तो आप जो बात कर रहे थे about the PAL government, ये problem. That's why you become IAS, IPS in northeast parts of Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh. It's a huge challenge, okay, countering these people. And these people, because they have guns, okay, some of them are local tribes. The local population, okay, are relatively not as against them. Because जान बचाना होता है ना. So police station में आपकी चलेगी नहीं. Army है तो they fight the army. So all the funds for development are taken away by them. Okay, एकदम लूट मार मची in some parts of Northeast. This is again an unresolved issue. Okay, and partly, of course, as I said, they are trained, supported, armed by China also in this case. Again, the border, because they are porous borders, वो आराम से जाके छुप जाते हैं म्यांमार में, parts of Bhutan में, parts of China, Tibet, and they have the encouragement there. Okay, ये unresolved issue है. And finally, the problem of lack of economic development and infrastructure development in Northeast. Lack of economic development, lack of infrastructure development in Northeast that compromises livelihood. That compromises livelihood and development of the Northeast. Livelihood and the development of the Northeast. Okay. Way forward. What can the solution be? Way forward. Okay. The way forward has to be a pragmatic compromise and peaceful coexistence. A pragmatic compromise and a peaceful coexistence. When I say compromise, it's on both sides. Like we should be okay with the shared sovereignty because वो illegal नहीं है. Okay, we should be okay with that, and the rebel factions must understand that it is not in their interest because the kind of geopolitical arc we have, आप हमसे बच जाओगे, but ऐसा नहीं है कि चाइना आपको छोड़ देगा. ऐसा नहीं है कि म्यांमार will take care of you. Okay, it's like Pakistan, the same thing we tell about Kashmir. Okay, some of those rebel factions that they have, they must understand this. You can never become a country independent in an area where there's so much of geopolitical flux. Okay, jahan pa Afghanistan is simmering, Taliban any day can clean up. Okay, you live in an army, they'll clean you up. Okay, Pakistan is in trouble. There's wisdom to understand that you are best as a part of Indian sovereign state. But baki development concerns, please negotiate, talk to us. But talk about independent secessionism, that's absolutely unacceptable. We can't accept, that's illegal, that is unconstitutional, that cannot be the way forward. When we say pragmatic compromise from the government of India side, we say we should be fine with the idea of shared sovereignty. Because without this, जो सब nationalism है, will only create more problems. Okay. And the rebel factions जो भी हैं, whatever rebel factions, they must understand the geopolitical reality of Indian borders. ये लड़ाई का फायदा नहीं है. You are dying, your children are dying, okay, you are losing jobs, development opportunities. Better है कि आप move on now. Okay, Indian border cannot be compromised. That's the stance we take. Okay, so rebel factions must appreciate the geopolitical reality. Okay, that secession is absolutely unacceptable. Okay, with all your rebel guns training, the fact is, in an army, definitely is far more powerful than you are. हम resolve नहीं कर पाएंगे immediately. Doesn't mean that we have lost it. We'll keep on fighting and we'll go on. हो गया, आप लड़ रहे हो, okay, 50 साल लड़ाई कर रहे हो. To what consequence? Okay, so we need some kind of pragmatic compromise. This is one important idea. The second, of course, is that has to be a development-based solution. There has to be development-based solution. Infrastructure, roads, job creation, agriculture, development-based solution. Okay, and as a part of development-based solution, okay, we're talking about a Northeast as the gateway for Act East policy of India. Okay, Northeast as the gateway. Okay, as the front for India for Act East policy as the basis of Look East policy. Development, trade, roads, rails. Okay, this is the second component, development based. And third, of course, is okay, ensuring the border security. Ensuring the border security. Okay, vis-a-vis Bangladesh, Myanmar, and China. Vis-a-vis Bangladesh, Myanmar, and China. अच्छा, एक पॉइंट आप ऐड कर सकते हैं that against your ये जो compromise वाला आइडिया है, okay, we have to continue to pursue peace talks with all the rebels. ये आप बंद नहीं कर सकते. We continue to pursue, is part of Indian compromise. We continue to pursue peace talks, engage them in peace talks, okay, with the rebels. Peace talks with the rebels. Okay. Now, one small write-up on this. Yeah. The following are the administrative arrangements for resolving Northeast crisis. The following are the administrative arrangements. तो हमारा तीन कंपोनेंट है. One is the administrative arrangements. The second will be what are our constitutional arrangements, and third is what are our developmental initiatives. I'm kind of summarizing all of this here. Okay, what are our administrative initiatives, arrangements? So administrative mein, number one is Armed Forces Special Powers Act 58 has been largely removed from many parts of the states. इनका काफी कम हो गया अब. It was not as much as it was earlier. ठीक है, ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डिमांड था, बिकॉज वही है ना, आर्म फोर्सेस. कल वी हैड ए गुड डिस्कशन यस्टरडे, राइट? आर्म फोर्सेस कैन नॉट बी सीन एज ह्यूमन राइट्स प्रोटेक्शन. उनका काम ही है शूट टू किल. उनका काम ही है टू सी एनी पर्सन as an enemy. They will not be amenable to transparency, not be amenable to reforms इतने आराम से. They cannot be concerned about local sensitivity. So they are always seen as encroaching into rights of local population. हर जगह जहां पर भी हैं, ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट असम में है, नागालैंड में है, whether you have in Jammu Kashmir, you have in Ladakh, everywhere this is one big reason for animosity. जो हम इसको हमें कमाना है. We reduced their deployment, one. Number two, we have a separate ministry, the Ministry of Development of Northeast Region. The Ministry of Development of Northeast Region. Ministry of Development of NER बोलते हैं, MOD, NER, Northeast Region. ये अलग से ministry है. All the development project schemes are taken up under them. Third, of course, I said is the inner line permit. The inner line permit is expanded to many parts across. Manipur में भी ऐड कर दिया हम लोगों ने. That gives them a sense of a tribal exclusiveness. ये तीन आपके administrative हैं. Constitutional, I told you about this, part 11 है, and under this we have the Schedule 6 that allows for Article 244. It allows for setting up of autonomous district councils. So Constitution allows for different treatment of this region. The Constitution allows for different treatment of this region. But इसमें एक स्टार लगा दो यहां पर. With the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu Kashmir, जो हटा दिया हमने कश्मीर, there is a sense of distrust in the Northeast. That the constitutional provisions of the Northeast will also be diluted. The constitutional provisions for the Northeast will also be diluted. So ये एक burning issue है. एक और burning issue was under CAA. When you have the registry made, what if the local population miss out? The National People Registry. This has become another issue of unrest and unease. And third is the announced Uniform Civil Code wala discussion. So much so that the government had to go on record to say The Uniform Civil Code will not be applicable for the tribes of the Northeast. So while Northeasts are placated, the Muslims are upset now. Okay, यार मतलब से सारा गेम क्या हम ही को काउंटर करने के लिए है. Okay, wherever you see a advantage, you are doing it and leaving out the rest. Okay, so these three have now become the elements of distrust. These three are seen as capable of compromising the shared sovereignty of the Northeast. Ultimate solution यही होगा. It has to be trust building activities. It has to be confidence building activities. Okay, but Constitution says that this is allowed. Shared sovereignty is allowed concept, is part of a pragmatic resolution. Okay, in terms of development, we have this program called as PM Divine. PM Divine is Prime Minister's Development Initiative. Divine, DEVINE. Prime Minister's Development Initiative for Northeast region. Prime Minister's Development Initiative for the Northeast region. Okay, इसमें funds हैं, funds for infrastructure, for jobs, livelihood. PM Divine is one program. Then we have PM Task Force for Agriculture. PM Task Force for Agriculture. Okay. Then we have NSEED. Third is NESID. NSEED is a Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme. Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme. This is for investments in water supply, power supply, connectivity, tourism infrastructure, water supply, power supply, connectivity, tourism infrastructure, health investments, health infrastructure, etc. Okay. And the fourth is the Northeast projected as India's natural, cultural and economic link with Southeast Asia. India's natural, cultural and economic link with Southeast Asia. Okay, so Northeast projected as an alternative manufacturing hub. As an alternative manufacturing hub under expansion of ASEAN. I hope you know what ASEAN is, right? ASEAN includes the borders. Thailand tak aa gaya aapka, Myanmar tak aa gaya aapka. And India is also a dialogue partner, security partner and all of that. So agar aapko expand karna hai manufacturing, Northeast is where you can, because culturally you are same. Language wise you have linkages. Proximity wise you have linkages. Okay, Northeast. So India is seeing Northeast as okay, an important element of the Look East policy and element of Act East policy. Look East policy and Act East policy. Okay? So I think I've taken care of yeah. So I'm done with the Northeast, Naga problems. Okay. Now let's quickly take up the Khalistan issue. the Khalistan issue. The resurgence and revival of a Khalistan problem. Khalistan problem. लिखने के पहले I want you to understand some things here. Okay. I'll say there are three things here. Well, आप सुन लो आप, all of you listen to this. Then we'll have some notes. Okay. Now see, the six, they are definitely a distinct cultural group of India. They will not call them as ethnic, okay, because they are not racially different, and more importantly, bearing religion, okay, and their script. Otherwise, culturally भी बहुत different, unique नहीं है. Okay, they speak Punjabi as rest of Punjab, and Punjabi even in parts of Pakistan. Okay, the religion part is different. So इसमें debate है कि can we see the six as an ethnic group or not? Some say yes. Why? Because अच्छे खासे number में है, not a small number, and this population they belong to one area. Whenever I use the word ethnic, they must always belong to some area. Okay, Assam ethnicity, Kashmir ethnicity, Mizo ethnicity का मतलब है there is a relationship with a location. Okay, so Punjab six have that location element to it. एक debate है. Okay, that six are a distinct culture. The six they are a distinct ethnicity. Okay, that they have a very a unique history. Okay, but ये थोड़ा disputed है. Okay, they're unique but not like many other parts of India maybe. ये एक issue है. And because of this, खासकर because of the religion thing, okay, historically they have wanted a separate homeland. और ये नया नहीं है. It goes back to again pre-independence, but the demand was not really as vociferous. Okay, it was more like an afterthought. Okay, because Pakistan बन रहा है, Muslim League बन रहा है, so we must also have a small land. Okay, but it never became a proper political movement. It was there, but not so big an issue. Okay, this is one dimension to it. A second dimension to the movement is that this began actually as a problem of communal conflict within the six. Okay, there is a group called as Nirankaris. A group called Nirankaris. Nirankaris are a development of 18th century, 19th century development. ये एक पंथी है, they are one group. One group that says that we are the true six, that we believe in one God, okay, and Akal Purush, and our ways are different. Okay, we are not like the other six. And one of Nirankari leaders, he declared himself as a Sikh guru also, and he started criticizing the other Sikh gurus. Okay, so there was the Nirankari movement, and the Nirankaris were opposed by some of the other Sikh groups, and the dominant among them was this group called as एक मिनट Damdami Taksal group. There were Nirankari groups. Nirankari groups, I said it's an 18th century, 19th century का movement है, and under the leadership of Dayal Das, And the man who declared himself as a living guru was Satguru Avatar Singh. Satguru Avatar Singh. इन्होंने कहा कि I am the next Sikh Guru. The last Sikh Guru, the sixth accept is Guru Govind Singh. इन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, मैं next last हूं, और मैंने पहले जो भी थे, and he started criticizing them. Okay. Whereas this Damdami Taksal, this was a major one. Damdami Taksal group, okay, they started opposing them. They called the Nirankaris as Nakli Sikhs. They are not the right ones. Okay, and this became a major communal conflict here, and it was in 1978. Okay, that is flared up into a major violence. On the day of Baisakhi, it was a massacre, okay, and a fight between them. And if fight mein, okay, Damdami Taksal group emerged as more powerful, Khaskar under the leadership of Jarnail Singh Brindanwala. He is the mastermind of Khalistani movement. Okay, so this began as a communal thing. Okay, and ultimately, under Damdami Taksal and Jarnail Singh Brindanwala, this got converted into a political movement. It got converted into a secessionist movement. Where they said ki we want our own homeland, whatever. Okay, initially, this Jarnail Brindanwala was actually encouraged by Indira Gandhi. Okay, why? Because she was seeing this as a basis of conflict. So maybe arm him and help him and support him to suppress the agitation here. Okay, but then it backfired, and ultimately they are the ones who ultimately assassinate, okay, B.N. Singh, the Chief Minister of Punjab, and even Indira Gandhi eventually 84 mein. So you must see the Khalistan movement, something like this. So this is a cultural thing. This is a communal conflict that now is morphing into a political movement. ठीक है? And इसका जो peak था, the peak was 1980s and 1990s. The peak. But thereafter, okay, there was suppression. The funding was stopped. A very important role was by KPS Gill. Okay, he was a police officer. Okay, and apparently a lot of atrocities committed there. Anyway, this lost all the sheen. Okay, and finally, what happened was, okay, this movement kind of died down until last 1 year में ये वापस emerge किया है. So a bit of history you should know, and we'll discuss कि वापस emerge क्यों कर रहा है. Lot of things are again unfortunate. कुछ हद तक हमारा same ideas. If we go back, the same discussions that we had, okay, that we are not being pragmatic. Okay, this idea of uniformity, the idea that all of us are same, and the worst was during the anti-farm agitation, the farm reform agitation tha, the Sikhs were increasingly seen as anti-nationals. Okay, because bulk of the agitation was in Punjab. Okay, the farmers agitating there, and the narrative driven by the government of India, Union of India, was that ye sara some of those Punjab Sikh population ye sab drama kar rahe hain for the local and for their personal needs, and they all are anti-nationals and they are Khalistanis. This is a very taunting comment. देखो आपको everybody has a sense of pride. Okay, अगर आप सबको you keep on poking them as anti-national, that you are, okay, that somewhere angers somebody else. Maybe 10 में से 8 लोग चुप रह जाएंगे, 1-2 लोगों को impact नहीं होगा, but one guy will get agitated there. And the rise of this Amritpal Singh, उसके बाद शुरू हो गया आपका. Okay, so there is history in how we have unnecessarily, okay, or farm agitation was one issue. Then there was opening up of the Kartarpur corridor. I hope you know this Kartarpur जो गुरुद्वारा है पाकिस्तान में. We opened that up. With that opening, what happened was the Sikhs have a sense of continuity now. Okay, we are not only this one, we are much larger community. इसके ऊपर में there is a very strong role played by the social media, and to some extent, a kind of a silence of the global powers. Canada mein, because Sikhs are a very dominant community there, the government of Canada is not taking strict action against them. Again, we were vote bank politics, nothing else. Okay, the Sikhs are in power. They are the sizable minority there. The same is happening in London also. Okay, so the global powers, okay, 3 countries, Canada hai, London hai, and US also. Okay, so they are not as vociferous. Why? Because it's a vote bank thing. ये सारा encourage कर रहा है for the Khalistani movement to start off. I hope I have given a story to all of you now. It starts with a cultural thing, like an identity thing. It becomes an issue of communal divide between the Nirankaris and Damdami Taksal group. Okay, and finally, it has now taken a political form, and this political form has suppressed, but now it's rising up because of some other recent issues. इसके ऊपर में the local Punjab का जो economics है, even that is a reason. Lack of jobs है, unemployment है, drug menace है, there is agriculture decline हो रहा है. So Khalistani movement is giving the people a kind of a voice. Okay, is giving some youth a kind of a voice, and that's now getting flat up. ठीक है? So we start off now the discussion. See, it's very important कि जब भी आप ये issues पढ़े ना, you must have a bird's eye view. एक broad idea होना चाहिए कहाँ शुरू हो रहा है, कहाँ खत्म हो रहा है. I don't think, like I talked about Naga problem. I don't think they'll ask you what happened in 1819. बताओ कब बना था the Naga club. They won't. But if you know the history about कैसे develop हुआ है, you can appreciate the problem a bit better. Okay, and then of course, some areas we will not negotiate at all. Other areas we must talk and try to be pragmatic. Okay, so as the movement, the first point here is the Khalistani movement. The Khalistani movement, okay, must be appreciated in the historical context. Must be appreciated in the historical context. Okay, the first signs of Khalistan movement was during the British rule as a part of demand for separate electorate. As a demand for separate electorate, comma, inspired by Pakistan's Muslim League, inspired by Muslim League under Jinnah, okay, and the Sikhs having a sense of cultural exclusivity. The Sikhs having a sense of cultural exclusivity because of their religion. Because of their religion. Next point. There was okay, isolated demand. There was isolated demand during and after partition. During and after partition. But nothing substantial, because the creation of the state of Punjab in India, fulfilled most of the identity based demand of the Sikhs. Identity-based demand of the Sikhs. By the way, I want to understand this. Punjab ka creation is the only state which was carved out on religious grounds. Okay, बाकी में linguistic ground है, कहीं पर tribal basis है, okay, कहीं पर development basis है. Punjab का creation was because of the religion. Punjab population, the Sikh religion, okay, and Punjab was the new state. जब पंजाब स्टेट बन गया, काफी हद तक दिस होमलैंड थिंग वाज टेकन केयर ऑफ. दिस इज द रूट्स देयर. ठीक है, राइट. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, नंबर टू. द खालिस्तान मूवमेंट in the immediate past, the Khalistan movement in the immediate past has its roots in the religious conflicts between the sects within the Sikhs. Has its roots in the religious conflicts between the sects, S-E-C-T, sects within the Sikhs, within the Sikhs. Put a dash. The conflict between Nirankaris who saw themselves as Sikh reformists. Nirankaris who saw themselves as reformists. Okay, and the more radical Sikh groups, such as Damdami Taksal group, Damdami, D-A-M-I, Damdami Taksal, T-A-K-S-L, Taksal group. Next point लिखो, उसी में next point. So I'm discussing, the first paragraph was discussing the Khalistan movement from the perspective of the culture identity, historical identity के शुरू किया मैंने. The second part is in terms of the religious movement क्या रहा है. Okay, the Khalistan movement का roots क्या है in this conflict. इसी का second part, write down that the Nirankaris under Satguru Avtar Singh, who declared himself as the living guru, followed by Gurbachan Singh, G-U-R-B-A-C-H-A-N, followed by Gurbachan Singh, who gave provocative speeches criticizing the Sikh gurus. Okay. Were challenged and pushed back by Damdami Taksal, and the other radical Sikh groups. 1978 was a very violent clash. That established the Damdami Taksal group, as a Sikh religious leadership, particularly under Jarnail Singh Brindewala. Jarnail Singh Brindawala. Okay, this was the beginning of the insurgency movement. This was the beginning of the insurgency movement and the Khalistan movement. And the Khalistan movement of the 80s and 90s. Of the 80s and 90s. Next point. Khalistan movement had some local support, from the disillusioned youth of Punjab. From the disillusioned youth of Punjab, who were witnessing decline of agriculture, loss of livelihood, and growing unemployment in Punjab. Next. Following the 1971 defeat and loss of Bangladesh, Pakistan saw this as an opportunity. Okay, to quote unquote bleed India by 1,000 cuts. ये थीम बन गया पाकिस्तान का कि वी कांट फाइट एंड विन अगेंस्ट ओपन वॉर, तो हम आपको धीरे धीरे ऐसे बर्बाद करेंगे. विल फाइट दैट वॉर इन द गुरिल्ला मोड. We will incite insurgency, we'll fund them, we'll train them. So lot of Khalistani movement का roots जो है is in Pakistan. The ISI trains them, the Pakistani army trains them, cross-border terrorism, ये सब शुरू हुआ 80s में, 91 and 71. It was a very humiliating defeat for Pakistan, followed by all of these things happening. So अगर हम Khalistani movement का roots देखेंगे, look at the roots of the Khalistani movement. I said one, of course, is the Sikh identity thing. Okay, plus we have the communal and sectarian violence between the Nirankaris and the Damdama Taksal group. Okay, इसके ऊपर में we have this Punjab economic crisis, the youth getting disillusioned. Okay, and this is aided by Pakistan's cross border terrorism support for the Khalistan movement. This is the fundamental roots of, because 71 में Pakistan lost the war. उनको लगा 5-6 साल to come to terms कि हम हार गए. And then the policy was, fine, let's go after them in a different way. So we have this General Ziaul Haq, in the 80s, as the president of Pakistan. Somewhere he starts off this process of training them and funding them and so on. So 80s mein we have this Pakistan's president called as Ziaul Haq. He's the man who ultimately even hanged Benazir Bhutto's father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Ziaul Haq was the president. Of course, he also died a violent death. He was assassinated in a plane crash, and he died fundamentally. Uske baad, again, the problems got sorted out. But Pakistan's army has had a bigger role here. That's how we have the transition. Write down. Next point is the Khalistani movement the Khalistani movement was largely resolved, partly because of the police action, and partly because of the political mainstreaming of Punjab, अब क्या लिखा, पाकिस्तान, because the political mainstreaming of Punjab leadership. तो पंजाब में इलेक्शंस हो गए, पंजाब गवर्नमेंट बन गया, अकाली दल becomes one of the very important powers. Again, all of that gave a political legitimacy to the entire process of making Punjab, one of the development agendas of India's story. So when this political alignment हो जाता है, all of this ultimately gets suppressed. Okay, fine. I'll continue tomorrow. It's time now. Tomorrow is Sunday, but we'll have an extra class, please. Okay, मुझे ये टॉपिक खत्म करना है. I've got 2 more topics after this one. One discussion is on Naxalism and one discussion is on cyber crimes. ये 2 main area रह जाता है. So all of you at same time, 8:30. Okay, no, not 8:30 because we have the test. We'll start at 9 tomorrow. Online and offline. Okay, Monday onwards we'll start off with history, and 2nd of August I'm starting off with advanced course. Okay, so those interested can join us. Punya, advanced course का हमारा beginning होगा with geography, environment. So we are staggering it, the way I told you. Okay, we have had geography, we have had environment, we will have history, then polity. Okay, this is done. Okay, and from August the 2nd, 4 to 6 p.m. Okay, we'll start with geography, we'll move on towards environment, then we'll go towards history. Okay, my intention is to finish 5 areas of GS before your prelims. Geography, environment, history, polity and economy. ये मुझे खत्म करना है not later by January. अगर ये बन गया आपका, okay, then you're on for the prelims. Absolutely Masood. Okay, I would recommend कि अगर आपने फाउंडेशन कर लिया है या फिर ये टॉपिक्स कर लिया है, so I'll finish history, okay, then we'll have history advanced course. We'll finish polity, we'll have polity advanced course. So these classes, these are part of your foundation class. Okay, and foundation class at 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Till 11 o'clock. ये हर दिन चलेगा. And this is only 3 days a week. Okay, this is 4 to 6 p.m. And in this we'll add more concepts, discussions, answer writing, and we'll have tests here. And this advanced course, we'll first have it for the prelims. Okay, this is for the main. ये वाला मेंस वाला कंपोनेंट है. इसके बाद हमारा प्रीलिम्स का कंपोनेंट है. Okay, from January से मई तक you'll have the prelims component only. Okay, test, yes. Prelims के बाद में, okay, then you give your prelims, and then we will have your main support for the mains. तो ये सारा कुछ मिला हुआ है as a part of the advanced course. You stay with me. Do the mains writing, finish mains, do the prelims, finish prelims, come back for revision for the mains. Yes, Anurag. अगर आपका, see, you have got no choice actually. आप अभी करो या बाद में करो, your choice. Okay. अगर आप 20-24 attempt दे रहे हो, you have no choice but to do this. Okay, because without the advanced course, you can never qualify prelims. या तो आप अपने आप करेंगे, that's your choice, या फिर आप किसी इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ करोगे. So you'll have double classes, yes, Srishti. So अगर 24 आपका attempt है, if this is what you're targeting, then this is a must. So many of you are beginning now, okay, you will have a challenge. So those who begin earlier, उनका खत्म हो चुका है, they'll come and join me. Convert ये अलग कोर्स है. आप या तो सिर्फ ले सकते हो फाउंडेशन, or you can take only advanced, or you take both together as integrated course. Yes, 25 guys can join me next year for advanced course. That's okay. But 24 वाले you don't have. I mean, join me or not, पढ़ाई तो करना पड़ेगा. Either do it with me or do it yourself or whatever. But this is our approach. Nishu, if you're planning for 24, you join along with this. ठीक है? Okay. I think we had a workshop on that. मैं समझाया भी था. Okay. अच्छा, I think all the students, you have been given PYQs of the security topics, right? Okay. Why no? You're walking late maybe. तो ऐसे बोलो ना, फिर आपको मना थोड़ी है. पैसे पूरे दिए तो पक्का मिलेगा आपको, नहीं दिए तो अलग बात है, फिर आपको हम चना चाय पिला के छोड़ देंगे. ठीक है? So you will have got that, you look into those, and then we'll have discussions on the questions when we become part of advance. Tomorrow class है, कल 9 o'clock class, not 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'll try finishing off the topic of security. Prerna, okay, thank you so much. I'm glad you are liking it. See, the whole agenda, how I try to teach is this, that you must enjoy these topics. आपको ये समझ में आना है, नॉट मैकेनिकली लिस्टिंग डाउन द फैक्ट्स. फैक्ट्स तो बच्चे सब कुछ है, नेट पे है. गो एंड टाइप खालिस्तानी मूवमेंट, सब आर्टिकल्स मिल जाएगा आपको. द चैलेंज इज हाउ डू लिंक देम. ओके, सो आई टेक 2 days टू रिसर्च, मेक अ स्ट्रक्चर टू इट. आपको भी लगेगा 2 दिन. और ओके, आई होप आई कैन टीच दैट टू यू एंड यू एंजॉय द प्रोसेस. अगर ये वर्ड्स समझ में आ गया ना, I give an example today, the concept of shared sovereignty. Okay, illegal है, नहीं है. Okay, if you understand these concepts, you will enjoy it, and you can use the concepts across discussions also. So Prerna, I'm glad you're enjoying the process. ठीक है? Yes, online also, Nurag. You'll get it on the portal. On the portal, you can check. Okay, the booklets we have given you. Okay, bye all of you. Okay, see you tomorrow. Tell me. Orientation we would have, but वही है कि हमारा खत्म नहीं हो पाया टॉपिक ऑफ इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी. Okay, so that's the reason why